All right, so we're back, and this time we're diving into episode 8 of The Madness.
No more madness.
Yeah, no more madness. Ironic title, right?
Definitely ironic.
With everything that happened.
Yeah.
But for those who need a little refresher, we're talking about Muncie. He's our journalist who's like up to his neck in this crazy conspiracy.
Yeah, and it just keeps getting more and more convoluted
Oh, for sure.
with every episode.
And this episode, it really just throws us right into the aftermath of all the crazy action that we saw in the last one.
Right, it's like the calm after the storm, but there's still this like unsettled feeling underneath it all.
Totally.
You know, we're dealing with what happened with Julia breaking in, and then that whole confrontation that went down at Isaiah's shop.
Oh, man. And don't forget about Elena.
Right. Like, what even happened to her?
Is she even alive?
Exactly.
That opening scene was nuts.
It really was.
And then from there, it's like we shift gears and we see Muncie trying to figure out this new reality he's in.
Yeah, he's been cleared of suspicion, which you'd think would be a good thing. But
Right.
it's not really a win when you think about it.
Not at all. And Julia's now the one being framed for all the murders.
Yeah, talk about emotional whiplash, right?
Seriously.
But what's really interesting to me is that this episode isn't just about Muncie reacting to everything that's happening around him.
Right.
It's like he's really trying to make sense of things, you know? He's trying to put the pieces together.
He's like piecing together a puzzle.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And on the surface, yeah, being cleared is good. But then the way the police found that nerve agent planted in Julia's car,
Oh, yeah, that was suspicious.
it makes you question everything.
Yeah, it's like he's off the hook, but at what cost?
Yeah.
And who even set that whole thing up?
Right. It makes you wonder, is this Cranes just trying to clean up loose ends? Or is there someone else pulling strings that we haven't even met yet?
It's like a whole other layer to this conspiracy.
And that's the question that keeps popping up in your head throughout this whole episode.
Yeah.
It's like this constant feeling of unease.
Yeah, like,
Yeah.
there's got to be more to the story.
Exactly. And it's only a matter of time before something else happens.
Oh, it's coming.
Definitely.
And speaking of things that are unsettling,
Yeah.
we've got that whole side plot with Ross Wright,
Oh, yeah.
using the climate crisis to make money.
It's like the show is holding up a mirror to our own world, in a way.
It really is.
I think it's a really smart move by the writers to bring in some social commentary.
Yeah.
Because on one hand, you've got this thriller that's really fast-paced and intense.
Keeps you on the edge of your seat.
Exactly. And then they hit you with these things that are actually happening in the real world
Yeah, it makes you think about who's out there taking advantage of these crises.
for their own personal gain.
Not cool.
Not at all.
And then, just when you think Muncie might get a break,
Yeah. Oh.
he gets this huge offer from Cranes' lawyer,
$5 million.
$5 million for his silence.
Talk about a game changer.
It's huge.
And it really tells you a lot about Cranes.
Like what?
Well, up until this point, he's been this untouchable figure, like a myth almost.
Pulling strings from the shadows.
Exactly. But now he's offering Muncie money.
Hmm.
I think it shows that there might be a crack in that facade.
Well, he's getting desperate.
Right. He's willing to pay a lot to keep his secrets hidden.
So what do you think Muncie has on him that's got him so scared?
That's a good question. And I think this offer isn't just about silencing Muncie.
What else could it be about?
It's about damage control.
Damage control.
Yeah, Cranes is losing control of the situation, and he's trying to regain it.
So what do you think Muncie will do? I mean, $5 million is a lot of money,
It is a lot to walk away from.
but he'd be living under constant threat.
It's like choosing between a golden cage and a dangerous freedom.
You put that perfectly.
And it really forces Muncie to confront some hard truths about himself.
Like what?
Can he live with the guilt of staying silent, knowing what could happen?
Right.
And can he even trust Cranes to keep his word?
That's a big one.
It is.
So what would you do if you were in Muncie's shoes?
Honestly, it's tempting. $5 million is life-changing.
For sure.
But for someone like Muncie, I don't think he could stay quiet.
Why not?
He's driven by this sense of justice.
Oh, yeah. He's got to find out the truth.
Exactly. And we see that in his decision to go public with everything he knows.
He's taking a big risk.
He definitely is.
I mean, going public is a big move.
It is, especially when you think about how the authorities already kind of brushed him off.
Yeah, even with that audio.
It makes you wonder what's changed for him, you know.
Like what made him decide to take that risk?
I think it shows how much he's grown over the course of the series.
Yeah.
In the beginning, it was all about survival.
Right, just clearing his name and staying safe.
Exactly. But now it's like his priorities have shifted.
He's not just thinking about himself anymore.
He's thinking about the bigger picture, exposing the truth.
Even if it puts him in danger.
And that's huge.
He's come a long way from the Muncie we met in episode 1.
He has. There's this determination about him now.
Like a fire that's been lit.
I know, right? It makes you think, what was that breaking point for him?
Like what pushed him from just trying to protect himself to taking on someone like Cranes?
I think it's that realization that staying silent isn't an option anymore.
Because
if he stays quiet, he's basically a part of Cranes's crimes.
Oh, I see.
And I think that offer from Cranes was a turning point for him.
Yeah.
It showed Muncie the power he actually has.
How so?
Cranes felt threatened enough to try and buy his silence.
So by going public, Muncie's kind of flipping the script.
Yeah, exactly. Instead of being controlled by Cranes, he's taking control of the narrative.
He's taking a stand.
And it's a bold move.
It is. But how do you think he's actually going to do it? Will he go back to the police?
Maybe, but I don't know if they'd believe him this time.
Yeah, they already dismissed him once.
He needs something more. Something undeniable.
Like hard proof.
Exactly. Something that can't be ignored.
This is going to be good.
It is.
Oh, we can't forget about Lucy. Remember how in the previous episodes she was mostly dealing with her grief?
Yeah.
Well, in No More Madness, she really steps up.
She does.
Not only is she looking for answers about her sister's death, but Muncie actually confides in her.
About the offer.
He shares this huge burden with her.
That's a big deal.
What do you think it means for their relationship?
Well, trust has been a big theme in this whole series.
For sure.
And we've seen Muncie struggle with who to trust.
Yeah.
So for him to confide in Lucy shows that their bond is growing stronger.
They're in this together.
Right. They're not just lovers anymore, they're partners.
They're finding strength in each other.
Exactly. It's like they're using each other to get through this really tough situation.
It's pretty amazing when you think about it. Like, even in the darkest times, you can still find connection.
I agree. And it makes you wonder how their relationship will change as things get even more intense.
Will it bring them closer, or will it push them apart?
Who knows, but it definitely adds another layer to their story.
It does. And we still don't know what happened to Elena.
After that fight,
Do you think she's really gone?
it's hard to say. The madness loves to keep us guessing.
Right. Like, we've seen characters come back from the dead before.
Exactly. But that scene was brutal.
It felt different this time.
It did. But then again, this is the madness. Anything is possible.
Part of me wants to believe she's still out there.
Maybe plotting her revenge.
But this show isn't afraid to kill off main characters.
That's for sure. Kick us on our toes.
So do you think even if she is gone, Elena will still be a part of the story?
Oh, absolutely. Her absence would be a huge motivator for Muncie.
He'd want justice for her.
And it gives him even more reason to expose Cranes.
So now that Muncie's gone public, what do you think his next move will be?
Well, he needs to find a way to really take Cranes down.
And it's not going to be easy.
No. Cranes is powerful.
He's got connections, resources.
He knows how to silence people.
So what can Muncie do?
He needs to be smart, strategic,
He's got to think ahead.
and figure out Cranes' next move.
It's like a game of chess.
With really high stakes.
One wrong move, and it's all over.
Do you think he can pull it off?
I don't know. He's definitely in over his head.
Maybe, but he's not alone, remember?
He's got Lucy.
And she's tough.
We've seen what she can do.
And don't forget about Demetrius and Quasi.
Oh, yeah. They've always been there for him.
They could be the key.
They've got access to things Muncie doesn't.
If they work together, they might just be able to take Cranes down.
And expose this whole conspiracy.
Can you imagine?
It would be huge.
It would send a powerful message.
About speaking truth to power.
And holding people accountable for their actions.
It would be a real victory.
It would. But even if they win,
Is it really no more madness?
that's the question, isn't it?
This could just be the start of something even crazier.
It's what keeps us coming back for more.
This show is so good.
It keeps you guessing. It makes you think.
And it stays with you long after the episode is over. Yeah, it really does make you think. And it makes you wonder, like, are we ever going to get answers, or is it just going to be more and more questions?
Right. It's like the more we learn, the less we actually know.
Exactly. And speaking of unanswered questions, we got to talk about Elena.
Oh, yeah. That cliffhanger.
Do you really think there's any chance she's still alive?
I don't know. This episode really messed with our heads.
I did.
Like, we've seen characters come back before.
Right. It wouldn't be the first time.
But the way that scene was shot, it felt so final.
Yeah, it was brutal.
I'm not sure this time, but then again,
This is the madness.
anything could happen.
So you're saying there's a chance.
I'm not ruling anything out.
I mean, part of me really wants to believe she's out there somewhere.
Maybe even planning to get back at Cranes.
Like her own revenge mission.
That would be awesome.
But you're right, this show isn't afraid to kill off major characters.
Nope.
So if she is gone, Do you think her death will still have an impact on the story?
Oh, for sure. It'll definitely fuel Muncie's fire.
He'll want justice.
And it gives him another reason to take Craints down.
It's like her death would become this driving force for him.
Exactly.
So let's say Elena is gone, Muncie's gone public. What do you think his next move is?
Well, he needs to find a way to actually expose Craints.
And that's not going to be easy.
Oh, Craints is like a master manipulator.
He is.
He's got connections, money power.
He can basically silence anyone who gets in his way.
So Muncie needs to be careful.
And strategic.
He can't just go charging in.
He'll get crushed.
Yeah, he needs to outsmart Craints.
Like a game of chess.
Exactly, but with really high stakes.
If he loses, it's all over.
But don't forget, he's not alone.
He's got Lucy.
And she's proven to be pretty resourceful.
Oh, yeah, she's tough.
And they still have Demetrius and Kwesi on their side.
They're like Muncie's A-team.
They've always got his back.
And they have access to things that Muncie doesn't.
Exactly.
So maybe if they all work together, they can actually pull this off?
I hope so. It would be amazing to see them expose Craints.
It would send such a powerful message.
About fighting for what's right.
And speaking truth to power.
No matter the cost.
It would be a huge win.
It would. But even if they succeed.
Will it really be no more madness?
I don't know. This could just be the beginning.
Of something even crazier.
Maybe that's the point. You know?
What do you mean?
Maybe there's no escaping the madness.
Ooh, that's deep.
Maybe it's something we all have to learn to live with.
Wow, I never thought about it like that.
It makes you think, doesn't it?
It does. And that's what makes this show so great.
It's thought-provoking.
It keeps you guessing.
And it stays with you long after the episode ends.
So to everyone listening out there, what do you think? Is there any escaping the madness?
Will Muncie and his crew be able to bring Craints down?
We want to hear your theories.
Your predictions.
Because honestly, we're just as hooked as you are.
We can't wait to see what happens next.
So until then, keep watching, keep theorizing, and remember,
the madness continues.